Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to sit down with you and just have a casual, opinionated type of talk about teaching English out here in Vietnam. It seems like there's a little confusion on what's actually going on. So let's talk about the law changes that happened this year, how it affected teaching English in Vietnam, and what it means for you to be an actual teacher out here, as in if you even can anymore. Now, since February of 2024, Vietnam has removed English from the curriculum. So high school students no longer are required to speak English. Or rather, sorry, they're not required to take the English exam as a mandated test. They still have the option to take it if they want it as one of their final tests, but it's not required. Also, universities in Saigon, Dalat, and Phan Thiet, I know for sure, I hear Hanoi is starting this, are starting to offer programs for Vietnamese students that no longer require English, so they can join university, go through a program strictly in Vietnamese. Where the counterpart used to be you had to have an IELTS or an English exam score to get into any university. And this was actually a big job for a lot of teachers back in the early 2016s, where teachers would be hired to work at universities for the weekend to just do a bunch of these English exams. So this brings up the question of, are English centers still going to be an option? And can you work at these English centers? Can you work at private schools? Can you work at international schools? Are these still options? International schools are not being affected by this. They do typically require a master's degree and some good amount of experience. And we also have to consider that a lot of parents still want their kids to go abroad and learn. These are still going to be options where English centers are going to be needed, and they're going to be in demand to an extent. And also government public schools and private schools are still going to offer English as an optional service for the students. So the parents will be asked, do you want your kid to go through this English program, yes or no? The teachers, though, are typically just going to be Vietnamese English teachers, which is kind of a downfall because most of them don't even speak English. They just teach English grammar for 10 years and the kid never learns to speak anything. But when it comes to native speakers working at public schools, this is going to be a very big rarity at this point. So the question is English going to be a thing in the future? Of course. Working abroad, living abroad, all this stuff requires English to some extent. So it's still going to be a thing for you out here. Plus, these parents need somebody to babysit their kids because they don't want to watch their own kids. Most kids that you'll meet in English centers are just there because their parents don't want to deal with them. And the way you'll notice this is a lot of these kids will be in English centers for 5, 6, 7, 8, even up to 10 or 12 years, and they still can barely speak English, or they just sound horrible. So these types of services are still going to be something that happen. And I'm starting to see a lot of English centers start offering like dance programs and art programs in English and different kind of like creative ideas to get students to join, which is kind of leaving us in a position where we can only work at major schools and major cities. In the old days of going to like Lai Cho or going to SOP or going to Dalat to work as a teacher is going to be much harder if you rely on that job for income. So down to the meat of all this, what does this mean for English teachers, being native or non? Public schools I just talked about, they've already started filtering out a lot of their programs, and with the programs goes the teachers. Teachers are being released or removed, which is kind of the same term, without really any notice. They come in one day and the school is like, hey, you're fired. That's something you'll kind of notice about Vietnam too. As I say it so loosely as hey, you're fired. That's kind of how it works in Vietnam. Like there isn't the traditional, like we're giving you a 1 month notice and a severance package. That type of stuff doesn't happen in Vietnam. If they're going to cancel the English program, they're going to typically know it at the last minute and just get rid of people as they go. Vietnamese people deal with this stuff all the time when it comes to working at banks and stores and restaurants. So this is what's happening with public schools right now. They're starting to consolidate these classes, and they're just having a Vietnamese teacher in there, or they're just packing these classes with 35 to 45 students and having a single Filipino teacher deal with all of it. Now, in regards to English centers, they're typically going to be okay. There are 3 English centers, I believe, from the people I know, the meetings I've went to, the work I do, the adverting I've been doing these last 4 or 5 months for schools, there's going to be 3 main English centers that survive this. The other ones are all going to kind of fade away, kind of slowly distant away. And like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of English centers are starting to open up like art classes and dance classes, like babysitting type of programs that involve English to an extent. These are typically happening at the lower end English centers. So there is still definitely a means to get a job out here. It's just going to be competitive. And that means you need to start bringing your A game. So check out all the ebooks below. I'll leave a link down there for you guys. how to do your lesson plans, how to do activities, how to automate all this stuff. Check the TEFL link below. I put a 50% discount on it. It takes like 2 or 3 days to get it done. If you need extra additional help, and you need help putting your CV together, you want some advice on your cover letter, and on top of that, you just want to support the channel and check out the videos way before everybody else gets to see them and talk to me directly, hit the join button below. Any tier level will get you all these benefits. So check that out there. And being part of the Endless Travel group will get you that kind of a competitive edge compared to other teachers, because I know what's going on. I'm doing the adverting for a lot of these bigger schools and smaller schools. The big problem happening right now is that there are a lot of teachers applying for teach jobs right now. The summer is just about to end as I'm recording this video. The new semester's starting, and schools have stacks of CVs. If they don't call you the moment they look at your CV, they're never gonna call you. That's pretty much how it goes. Now, getting back to the schools themselves and where you can teach, if you are a native English speaker, your only real options that are coming near the future are working in large cities. The smaller spots, you're not really going to be able to get those jobs because it's going to come into two problems. One, they're not going to be able to afford you, so you're probably going to work part-time, which won't qualify you for a TRC, so you're going to be doing visa runs. Two, they just can't afford you. So what's typically happening is native teachers are in the major cities, and the non-native teachers are typically taking these outer spots, like these smaller village towns and whatnot, and teaching those classes. And that also includes non-native teachers are going to have the best bet for public and government schools as well. So in short, I'm feeling if you could sell yourself, you have a top CV, you have a good cover sheet, you followed all the tactics I taught in my ebooks on how to develop this stuff, you're going to have the best bet to get a job. A big question that comes up a lot with these changes is, should I come out to Vietnam now to find a job, or should I find a job and then come out to Vietnam? My advice is, if you have the means, come out to Vietnam while you apply for the job, because you'll have a better chance. They're going to want to see. And if you tell them, hey, I'm already in Saigon, I'm already in Hanoi, whatever the case is, and you can start working in the next couple of days, they will hire you faster. Don't come here thinking you're going to get a job in a couple of days. It's not like it was back in 2015 where you could land in Saigon and within a couple of days find a job and everything is good. It's not that quick no more, but it's not impossible either. You still have a really good chance. So the final part of this thing is, when is English really going to be affected to the full extent? I feel that TET of 2025 is where there's going to be a massive downfall when it comes to teaching. So here in a couple weeks, the parents are going to start hearing about English is no longer required. And they're going to have to pay for the new semester, and they're going to have the option to pay for English. If there is no purpose for a test in school, parents won't pay for the program typically. So the ones that are going to pay are the ones that are going to be serious about English, and they want to move their kids onto bigger and better things in the near future. When it comes to English centers, again, there are always going to be a demand for the larger ones in international schools. So you're going to be fine there. After TED is over, we get the 2-3 week vacation. I feel that is when the big fall off is going to happen. The interest from right now all the way out to pretty much February is going to die on to the point where students are just bored. I've already talked to a lot of teachers working at 2 major schools out here in Saigon, and they've said that their students don't care. The parents aren't even showing interest no more. So they're already starting to get bored. They're already realizing they don't need this. English is going to take an avalanche type fall to where it's going to be just the biggest centers around, and here and there public schools will offer some services, and it'll just be down to international schools and there's 2 or 3 English centers. The golden age of Vietnam, where you can come here for 5-10 years and live on a business visa and just kind of chill and claim you retire, that golden age is really going away. But that doesn't mean everything's over. Again, you still have Thailand. Thailand's hiring teachers all the time. They still have English as a big mandate, and Thailand really focuses on such things. You have Cambodia that's still hiring. If you're already a teacher, your job is in question right now. You're about to get laid off. You're probably going to get fired. And when I say fired, it doesn't mean like, get out of here. It's more of, we can't afford you, or we're cutting our program back, or students are rolling, we can't fill any classes for you no more. That's going to happen very soon. So you need to do a few things. One, you need to up your game. You need to be more socially active with your schools, even if you hate them. I totally understand. Like, there's schools I've worked at, I just hated everybody because they were just ridiculous. You need to stop that. You need to start being friendly even if you don't want to be. You also need to start upping your activities. You need to start playing more games. Your goal as a teacher in Vietnam is to be a babysitter, an entertaining one at that. So Again, the ebooks below, check out my activity books. Get your activity game up. Your lesson planning, again, an ebook on lesson planning, how to write them quickly and efficiently. You need to have a plan. Do not walk in a classroom, duh, what are we doing? You have to have a plan. And if you don't know what to do, play games. Like, I am dead serious. If you had two teachers, one teacher that really knew what they're doing, teaching a good lesson, and then another teacher that's just playing games back to back, the one playing games back to back would literally have a better chance of getting hired. I know that sounds ridiculous, because it is. But that's just how Vietnam rolls. You are a glorified babysitter. Also, get your CV updated. Your entire CV should be focused on teaching English. It should be about how you can benefit the school. Your cover letter should be short and sweet and sell yourself in the first couple of paragraphs. That's all you need to do. And past all of that, just smile. When you're at the schools, have fun. Talk with the kids, smile at the kids. You see the parents wave, do dumb shit. At this point, you are a glorified babysitter that needs to prove you are the funnest, coolest teacher there. If you are a native teacher, you have less to worry about than a non-native teacher if you're in a major city, but you still have something that's going to get to you, and that's competition. There are a ton of teachers applying for the job that you're at right now. The school has the opportunity to replace you. And before we get out of here, the very last hack for you guys. If you do have a job out here already, get a TRC. If you are on a business visa to do visa runs, get a TRC. It is very hard for a English center or a government school to fire you and release you if you have a TRC, because they have to go through this big government process to get the thing expired. So get a TRC now. That locks you in so much more. If you have a business visa, they just make a phone call and tell you to get the hell out of here. And you're done. That's it. There's no debate. There's no battles. But a TRC, you have a little leverage. So I hope that answers kind of the common questions going on with what's going on with English in 2025. I kept this one kind of just casual floss so we could just kind of sit down and talk about it. If you have any questions, let me know below. I'll answer them the best I can. If you're already a member of this, ask them right away. I'm going to leave this video in the members section for about 5 days so you guys can kind of attack me with the questions. I can help you get ready for your transition to becoming a teacher or the idea of staying a teacher. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching. I will see you again.